Hi everyone, welcome to Introduction to Programming with Python. This is lecture 7. In this lecture, we are talking about control logic using if-else statements, and we'll also talk about nested if-else. So what are if statements in Python? If statements allow us to tell the computer to perform alternative actions based on certain set of rules. You can imagine telling the computer that if this case happens, perform some action, otherwise don't. To elaborate further, you can say that if this case happens, perform this action, otherwise perform some other action, and so on. So we can expand on this idea using if, elif, and else statements, as we shall see in examples. But before going and writing examples, I wanted to talk about Python syntax. So there are three ways you can write if statements. So one is if some condition, and then what do you want it to do if that condition is true. That code is captured in this indented statement block. Indentation is an integral part of Python coding, and as we shall see, it's really important. The other second syntax is that if you have two conditions to capture, you'll say if this condition holds true, do this, else do something else. And the third most common form of using if, elif, and else statements is by writing code in this format, which is if this thing happens, do this, elif, which is like another condition, do something else, and finally else, do something here. So this will be even more clear when we'll go and check the examples today. We'll see three different examples and we'll use all these three syntax in those examples. This is Spider, and I'm sure most of you now know how to open Spider. Let's look at problem 1. It is asking us to take user input as the weight of their luggage for a bag weighing heavier than 50 pounds, print a message stating the extra charge of $25 incurred. So what we have to do is we have to take user input and save it in some variable. Let's say that variable is equal to weight because that seems the most logical. And this goes back to our previous lecture where I talked about how we take user input. So I just want to tell the user what is the weight of your bag. I'm simply asking them a question, what is the weight of your bag? And I also want to typecast it because I don't know in what format the user is going to provide the input. I'll typecast it as float. Now there is only one condition I need to check, which is if weight is greater than 50, then go and print you need to pay $25. Right? Let's go and run this program and see what happens. As you can see on the right hand side, it's asking me what is the weight of your bag. I'll say 25, let's say 55, which is more than 50. It's telling me to go and pay $25. What happens if I run this program again? And this is the way you run it in Spider. If you just want a couple of lines to be executed, you just go and hit this button here. Right? It will run your selection. Okay. So what if the weight is less than 50? I do not get any output. If you really want that, you can simply go out of this if statement and type what you want to print if this condition of weight being greater than 50 is not true. I just want to print this message, right? And then I'll select all my code and run it. What's the weight of your bag? 40. Have a nice day. So this is the way we write if, and then followed by a condition and then a colon, and write the code that we need to execute if this condition is true. Now let's look at another problem, problem 2. This is asking us to write a program that takes current temperature as user input, and then it must recommend users to wear shorts if temperature is above 70 and pants otherwise. So there are two conditions that we are taking care of here. Let me define a variable temperature that again takes user input. I'm going to typecast it, meaning I'm going to convert it into floating point because temperatures are usually floating points, right? So I'll ask the user what is the current temperature, and then the problem asks us if temperature is strictly greater than 70, and this is the way you write it, followed by a colon. So this is a condition after the if statement, and then it's followed by a colon, and then print wear shorts. Now I have another condition, and for that and for all other cases when the temperature is not greater than 70, I want to print something else, which is print, maybe say, wear long pants, right? Let's go and run this code. What's the current temperature? If it's 50, wear long pants. Let's go and run it again. If the temperature is 80, then wear shorts. So here we are capturing two different conditions. What happens if the temperature is greater than 70? What happens if the temperature is less than 70? Which is why we use if and else, as opposed to what we did in the previous program. Because here the problem wasn't asking us to do anything if the weight is less than 50, right? I just created this on my own. I don't really need it here. Now finally going to the third problem, which is here. Let me take it here. Now here write custom messages for a user location based on where they currently are. So here we don't need to have a user location. We don't need to have a user input, sorry. Possible locations are bank, auto shop, and if none of them is true, if none of these are the true locations, then ask the user for their current location. Basically we have a variable that has some value, let's say it's bank, right? But there are more than two conditions here, right? The possible locations are bank and auto shop. Plus, we also need to capture a third condition, which is asking the user for their location, because we are unable to capture the exact location. So there could be a third value to LOC variable as well, right? Which is why we're going to write if and elif statements here. So if location equals bank, then print some statement saying that maybe welcome to the bank. The second condition is elif. Again, elif requires another condition. Location is auto shop, or just auto to be precise. Then print welcome to auto shop, and else if we don't know, if we are not able to figure out the exact location, go and print ask the user where are you, right? This is what the problem is asking us to do. Again, as you notice here, the indentation is extremely important when you're writing Python code. If followed by a condition, then colon, and then the entire code should be indented under this print. Similarly for elif and else. Let's run this. As you can see, LOC, which is the current location, is bank. Let's run it for auto. So when I assign this variable LOC auto, it should go into this elif block and print welcome to auto shop. Let's do that. And as you can see, this is what we get. Now what if I say well, location is auto 1? Here I get where are you? Why? Because it's neither this condition is true nor this condition is true, and so eventually we go to this else block. In addition to this, I also wanted to talk about nested if-else statements, which look something like this. So basically you can nest if and else code within an if block. And a good way to consider this nested if logic is to say that I also want to capture the idea that whether it's raining today or not, So I'm trying to capture the user input in the form of a string. Let's say I'm asking the user, is it raining today? In addition to the temperature, right? So is it raining? Answer true or false. Okay. So if the temperature is greater than 70 and if it's raining, then rain is a variable here, and if rain is true, then do something. Or maybe the other way, if rain is false, so if it's not raining, then go and wear shorts, right? And as you can see, I get the small red cross on the left hand side, which is telling me that the indentation is not correct and the program is going to error out. So if rain is false, so it's not raining and the temperature is greater than 70, then only print wear shorts. Otherwise, tell the computer or tell the user basically here, stay home, it's raining. Right, what is the code saying? If rain equals false, great, because we are trying to compare rain to something, right? So this kind of illustrates how we can insert another if-else block within an if or an else, because we need to test for more than one condition here, right? We want to test for a temperature and also for whether it's raining or not. So with this example, I finish the idea of if and else statements. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.